Hello everyone, and welcome back to History of the Ancient World. Today, we're journeying back in time, down the lifeblood of Egypt, the Nile River, to explore some of the most awe-inspiring structures ever created, the temples of ancient Egypt. These weren't just buildings, they were the heartbeats of a civilization, cosmic engines designed to maintain the order of the universe. So grab your virtual sun hat and let's step into a world of gods, pharaohs, and monumental stone. When we think of ancient Egyptian architecture, the Great Pyramids often steal the show. But the temples, in many ways, tell an even richer story about daily life, religion, and power. Unlike tombs, which were built for the afterlife, temples were built for the living and for the gods. They were vibrant, bustling complexes, the epicenters of religious life and economic power. The ancient Egyptians believed that these temples were the literal homes of the gods on earth. A specific god or goddess would inhabit a temple, and it was the duty of the pharaoh, as the high priest of every cult, to care for them. Of course, the pharaoh couldn't be everywhere at once, so he delegated these duties to a vast network of priests. Their job was to perform daily rituals to sustain the gods, and by extension, the entire cosmos. These rituals were incredibly important. They included waking the cult statue of the god each morning, purifying it with water, dressing it in fine linen, adorning it with jewels, and offering it food and drink. The Egyptians believed that if these rituals were neglected, the gods would abandon their temples, chaos would triumph over order, and the world would descend into darkness. So, you can see why these places were so vital. They weren't just places of worship, they were cosmic power plants, ensuring the sun would rise, the Nile would flood, and life would continue. Let's talk about the design. Egyptian temples weren't thrown together randomly. They followed a very specific symbolic layout. Imagine walking through a typical temple. You start by passing between massive towers called pylons. These represented the two hills of the horizon between which the sun rose each day, a powerful symbol of rebirth. The entrance path was often lined with sphinxes, mythical guardians to ward off evil forces. As you moved deeper into the temple, from the bright, open courtyards accessible to the public, the spaces would become progressively smaller, darker, and more exclusive. First, you'd enter a large open court surrounded by columns. This was often as far as the general public was allowed to go, especially during festivals. It was a space for gathering and public celebration. Moving further in, you'd reach the hypostyle hall. The name sounds complex, but it just means a hall filled with columns. These columns were often designed to look like a forest of papyrus reeds, symbolizing the primeval marsh of creation. The ceiling would be painted dark blue with golden stars, representing the night sky. The light here would be much dimmer, creating a sense of mystery and awe. Only priests and high-ranking officials could enter this sacred space. Finally, at the very heart of the temple, in total darkness, was the sanctuary. This was the holiest of holies, the actual dwelling place of the god's cult statue. This room was small, intimate, and accessible only to the highest-ranking priests and the pharaoh himself. This journey from the bright, chaotic outside world to the dark, serene, and orderly sanctuary mirrored the Egyptian concept of creation, moving from chaos to perfect order. The entire temple was a model of the universe in miniature. Now let's visit a couple of the most magnificent examples. First, Karnak. Located in modern-day Luxor, Karnak isn't just one temple. It's a colossal complex of temples, chapels, pylons, and obelisks built and expanded over 2,000 years. It was dedicated primarily to the Theban triad of gods, Amun, his consort Mut, and their son Khonsu. Walking into Karnak today is still an overwhelming experience. The Great Hypostyle Hall is legendary. It covers an area of over 50,000 square feet and contains 134 massive columns arranged in 16 rows. The central 12 columns are almost 70 feet tall. Standing among them feels like walking through a forest of stone giants. It's impossible to feel small in a place like this, and you get a real sense of the power and wealth of the pharaohs who built it. For centuries, Karnak was the most important religious center in all of Egypt. Then, down the Nile, we find Abu Simbel. This is a totally different kind of temple. Built by the great pharaoh Ramesses II, Abu Simbel is a rock-cut temple, carved directly into a solid rock cliff face. It's famous for the 4 colossal statues of a seated Ramesses that guard its entrance, each over 65 feet tall. They were designed to be a powerful statement of pharaonic power, a warning to anyone approaching Egypt from the south. But the real genius of Abu Simbel is hidden inside. Twice a year, on February 22nd and October 22nd, the rising sun's rays penetrate the entire length of the temple, over 200 feet, to illuminate the statues of the gods in the innermost sanctuary. Only the statue of Ptah, the god of the underworld, remains in shadow. This incredible solar alignment was a deliberate feat of engineering and astronomy, designed to celebrate the pharaoh's birth and coronation days. In the 1960s, the construction of the Aswan High Dam threatened to submerge Abu Simbel forever under the waters of Lake Nasser. In an unprecedented feat of modern engineering, an international team coordinated by UNESCO dismantled the entire temple, block by block, and reassembled it on higher ground, preserving it for future generations. It's a testament to how universally cherished these ancient wonders are. Beyond their religious function, temples were also the economic engines of ancient Egypt. They owned vast tracts of land, herds of cattle, fleets of ships, and employed thousands of people, from priests and scribes to farmers and craftsmen. They functioned like self-contained cities. The offerings of food brought to the gods weren't wasted. After the rituals, this food was redistributed to the temple staff, a system known as the reversion of offerings. This made the temples major centers of economic redistribution, ensuring the stability of the local community. They collected taxes, ran workshops, and served as centers of learning and knowledge with extensive libraries or houses of life, where sacred texts were written and preserved. The walls of these temples are living history books. They are covered from floor to ceiling with intricate hieroglyphs and detailed reliefs. These weren't just decoration. They recorded historical events, like Ramesses II's famous Battle of Kadesh. They depicted religious rituals, showing us exactly how the ancient Egyptians worshipped their gods, and they detailed myths and legends, giving us insight into their understanding of the world. By reading these walls, archaeologists have been able to piece together an incredible amount of information about Egyptian society, politics, and beliefs. Every image had a purpose, every inscription told a story. So, the next time you see a picture of an Egyptian temple, look beyond the impressive scale. See it as the ancient Egyptians did, a machine for maintaining cosmic order, a home for the gods, a center of economic power, and a stone library of their entire civilization. These temples are a powerful reminder of a culture that sought to create permanence and harmony in a world of change, and their efforts have allowed their legacy to endure for millennia. They are a true gift from the ancient world to us all. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey through the temples of ancient Egypt. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to History of the Ancient World for more explorations into our shared past. Let us know in the comments which ancient site you'd like to see us cover next. Until then, stay curious.